Hey, what's going on, guys? Welcome back to Pascack Valley Forage and Farm. I'm out here today with two of my apple trees. You can see I got one right here behind me, and then I got another one in this enclosure back here. I'm out here because I'm going to be taking these two apple trees out. I just got a delivery of two new bare root apple trees from Grandpa's Orchard. I believe it's in Michigan, and I had them shipped to me. They were delivered today. The reason I'm taking these two trees out, if you look at this tree, this tree, and they're both the same, are they have 4 different varieties on them, so it's a grafted tree. And I bought these several years ago, actually probably about almost 8 years ago now. And this is when I was first getting into gardening and trying to start an orchard, and I thought it sounded like a good idea being able to have all these apples on the one tree. I thought it would be fun. And I liked the idea that they were self-pollinating because there was different types of apples on the tree. And certainly for a beginner, that makes sense, especially if you don't have room for multiple trees. You can have one apple tree that'll pollinate itself, because for those of you that don't know, an apple tree has to have another different type of apple tree, in a variety anyway, for it to pollinate. So because there's 4 different varieties on here, it pollinates itself. So the varieties on here, it was Red Delicious, Yellow Delicious, Yellow Transparent, and then Early something. I don't remember what it was called. Have had some issues with these trees, have had some disease issues with them. They haven't really been producing that great, and the apples that they do produce are deformed and small, so that was an issue. And also, when you have a tree like this that's already grafted, it's harder to prune the tree, to have the tree grow in the optimal sense that you want an apple tree to go. An apple tree should be a center leader coming up with lateral branches coming out the side. And as you can see with this, it kind of comes up and it opens up more like you would expect from a peach tree or a plum tree, so like a stone fruit. So it's just tough to prune these trees. So I decided I'm gonna order a couple new bare root trees. I actually ordered a couple last year from Grandpa's Orchard, same place. I haven't planted another part of the property. I got a Liberty and a Empire. And then the ones I got delivered today, I got another Liberty and a Cortland. The reason I got Liberty is it's really bred to grow in this part of the country. I'm here in North New Jersey, and Liberty is also very disease resistant. And also, as far as the Cortland and the Empire, growing up, my grandfather had an apple orchard in upstate New York, and these were some of the varieties that he had. So a lot of nostalgia going on here, part of the reason I picked the trees that I did. So I'll get more into the benefits of the bare root tree as I plant it, and I'll show you how I do that. But for right now, what I'm doing is I'm going to go in here and I'm going to take these trees out. It's a bummer. I don't like doing it. I don't like taking trees out, but the fact is I grew these trees to produce apples for me, and 7 years into it, they're still really not producing. So I'm gonna take these out and try something new with the bare root apple trees and see how they do. So for right now, I'm gonna be pruning these back and then taking them out, and then probably tomorrow I'll be planting the new trees, because right now it's about 4:30 in the afternoon and I don't want to be out here as it really kind of starts to get chilly towards night. I'm just gonna put those other trees in the garage for the night and let them sit, and then tomorrow I'll get them planted. All right, guys, so here we are. It's 2 days later. I didn't get to plant the trees yesterday like I wanted. Other things came up, but I'm out here today to plant them. And you'll notice a couple things. One, I've already got the hole dug, and the hole is significantly bigger than I need it to be for the roots to fit in. You want to make sure that the roots are going to have a good amount of loose soil to move through, rather than having to like punch straight through the walls of compacted soil around the edge. So you want there to be a little bit of a bigger hole than your roots are going to need. Two, I have the mound of soil that I took out of the hole right here, because I'm going to put this soil back in here. You want your tree to be growing in its natural soil that the roots are going to be reaching out into. The way I've heard it described is you don't want to completely fill the hole up with super nutrient dense and rich soil or compost or whatever, that the tree kind of gets spoiled and doesn't want to reach out into the soil around it, and the roots kind of just want to keep staying in this area with the super rich mix. That being said, I am going to mix a little bit of this Master Nursery Bumper Crop soil builder in here. It's just something that I get from my local nursery, and there's a lot of good stuff in it. You know, it's got worm casting, lobster and crab shells, mycorrhizal stuff, sphagnum peat moss, all kinds of good stuff in here. I'm going to mix this with this soil, probably like a 70-30 mix, 70% this soil, 30% that, when I fill it back in. So here's the first type of tree I'm planting. This is a Liberty apple on a Geneva 11 dwarf stock, okay? So as you can see down here, the Liberty apple tree is grafted onto a dwarf stock, okay? And because it's grafted onto here, the tree is only gonna get to about 8 feet tall, all right? It's not gonna grow any taller than that, which makes it a perfect choice for a back home orchard like this. All right, so you can see there's no root ball here. I just have some roots coming out the bottom. All right, so I'm just gonna plant this right into the ground and fill around it with the soil. All right, before we get started with that, just something I wanna explain to you is you do not want to bury the root any deeper than this junction here, all right? This junction right here, this is the Liberty apple growing out of the dwarf stock. If you cover the dirt past this junction up to here, this part of the tree will start shooting out roots and will grow, and these roots will grow, okay? But if they grow out of this part of the tree, it will no longer be a dwarf tree. It's gonna be a standard size apple tree, and it's gonna grow bigger than you want. So we wanna make sure we leave this part exposed. So I'm gonna bury it up to about 2 inches below the junction, all right? Just to ensure that no roots try to grow out of this part of the tree, because I want this tree to stay small. I don't want it to get over 8 inches big, or 8 feet tall rather. All right, so I've got the hole to about the depth I want. You can see the junction is gonna be about 2 inches above ground level. I filled the hole back in a little bit because I dug it too deep, but that's okay. I filled it back in with the soil and soil builder mix. All right, and then I just patted it down a little bit just so that it wouldn't be totally loose. I'm okay with a little bit of soil settling, but we don't want it to settle too much, okay? So now I have my tree in here. I have it roughly straight. I can always fix that in the future, okay? I mean, at least before I'm done planting it. And I'm just gonna fill in around it. So now I've got my tree in the soil, and you can see I've got about 1.5 inches, 2 inches between the soil and the union where the graft goes into the rootstock, okay? So, and you can see, maybe you can tell from here that my soil looks like it's a little low. It's a little bit deceiving because there is a thick layer of wood chips in here that I keep down to help with moisture retention and stuff. So There is a little bit of a bowl, a little bit of a depression for the tree, but that's okay. I want to have that so that, you know, the water can kind of settle in here and get down to the roots more easily. So now that I have my tree in, I want to water it. And because I'm a total nerd about this, I'm going to water it in using this rainwater that I've collected over the last couple days. It's been raining here for a few days. I filled up this old trash can with water, and this is what I'm going to use to water in my trees. Each one of these is about 2 gallons of water. I'm going to use 2 of these to water in each tree. So I'm just slowly going to water this in. I don't want to dump it all in there too fast. Give it time to drain down. Now the soil here on my property is very well draining, so I'm not worried about this. I know this is going to go down, but you want to make sure that when you water it in, you want to be checking on it and make sure that it goes down, you know, in an appropriate amount of time. You want to make sure that at least this water is gone in an hour. If you're not sure how your soil drains before you plant your trees, dig your hole that you plan on planting the apple tree into and then fill it with water and see how long it drains. If it sits in there for more than a couple hours, you're probably going to need to do a little bit of work to your soil to make sure that it drains better so your tree doesn't drown in the water if it gets too wet. So that's the first tree put in place and watered. While that water drains down and soaks in, I'm going to do the other tree, which is the Cortland. So I'm not going to totally bore you with doing the same thing again for my next tree, but there is something that I do want to show you. You'll notice on this Cortland tree, the roots are a lot more pronounced than they were on the Liberty. And you can see how they kind of hang down past the taproot kind of area here. You see how they kind of cascade down? I want to show you something you can do that's going to help with the root growth in the hole when you do this. So you can see here in the bottom of the hole, I've made kind of a mound right in the middle. And the reason I do that is because then you put the tree in and you let the roots kind of cascade down over the mound where they'll reach down kind of in a natural pattern to grow out and down. All right, and it's just something, instead of just kind of jamming it in the hole and you have the roots all kind of just bunched up in the bottom, this way they can just kind of cascade down in all the other different directions. And this is just a trick I learned watching guys like James Prigioni over on the Gardening Channel and also Kevin over at Epic Gardening. And it's the same thing. Once I have that in, I'm just going to slowly fill the hole up with dirt. All right, so here we can see the second tree is in. Again, it's several inches below this graft. This one was a little bit longer, so I've got more of it sticking out of the ground than with the Liberty tree, but that's okay. So now what's left to do is water this one in the same as the other one. So now that I've got my trees in and watered, it's time for the part that everyone hates, and that's pruning your brand new bare root tree. And I know that every fiber in your being is saying, I don't need to prune this, there's hardly anything to it. But yes, you do, okay? I don't know how well you can see it here, but as this tree grows up, it starts to bend back, and I don't want that. I want this trunk to be as straight as possible. So I'm gonna prune it back to where it starts to bend back, which is right here. And I have a little knob here, which from this, there's gonna be new growth, and it's gonna grow out of here, okay? And then from there, I can train it to grow straighter than this. So the way to go about doing this is to just do it. Believe me, your tree's gonna be fine. I am gonna cut it on a little bit of an angle just so that when rainwater and stuff hits it, it slides off and it doesn't pool on the cut, which would help to, you know, promote rot and things like that. So there it is. I know now it just looks like I have a little stick coming up out of the ground, but believe me, this is what you want to do to your trees. So you can see here on this Cortland, I don't have any of the branches coming out at the top like I did on the Liberty, but I still want to cut it back, all right? Because I still want to cut it to promote that new growth, all right? It's going to start putting out leaders, it's going to start punching out a new trunk, and from there, again, I can shape this tree in the coming years into the shape that I want. So I'm gonna cut this right here above this knob. And that's it. For those of you who maybe are a little skeptical about whether or not you should do this, I just want to show you this tree. This is a dwarf Empire apple tree that I planted last year from the same place, Grandpa's Orchard. And I did the same thing to it last year. I cut it off, and all these things that you see, all of this branch growing back here, these here, this is all new growth from last year, okay? So you can see that cutting it, it doesn't hurt the tree, it doesn't kill it, it just promotes new growth. And as it grows, you can cut off the branches that you don't want. You can have them growing in the pattern that you want on your new tree, and it just makes things a lot easier going forward. So yes, maybe you set yourself back a season, but in the long run, you're going to be doing yourself a favor by trimming your tree. And for those of you wondering, is he going to fertilize his trees? Yes, I am going to fertilize them, but not yet. I'm going to give these guys some time to get used to their new home, get acclimated to their new environment, let those roots start growing, and then I will add a little bit of fertilizer to the soil. But I don't want to do it yet. I don't want there to be too much of a shock to the tree. I want to give it some time to just kind of relax and settle into its new home. All right, 2 new apple trees planted in the ground, watered, ready to go. As you can see, it's not that complicated. So if you were thinking about planting a tree, an apple tree, a peach tree, plum tree, whatever, and you thought, oh man, this is going to be too complicated, you can see it's not. It's really not that hard at all. If you are thinking about planting a tree, I would recommend trying to get one that's bare root. Simply because you tend to be able to get a wider variety if you order a bare root tree than you would going to maybe some of the bigger stores like Lowe's or Home Depot or your local nursery, you know, ones that come in a pot. When you go there, you're really probably only going to be able to find 2, maybe 3 different types of varieties that may not even necessarily be a variety that grows well in your growing zone. It just is what the store got, and now they're going to sell. So if you're thinking about it, go ahead, go for it. The only thing with bare root trees is you typically have to order them very early in the season. These 2 I ordered back in December, and I just got them 2 days ago. So the time may have passed at this point to get yourself a bare root tree, but it just sets you up for next year to plan for that, order it, and be able to get it in the ground when it arrives. So thank you for watching this video. I hope you liked it. I hope you learned something. I hope maybe it inspired you to get your own trees and plant them. If you did like the video, please don't forget to like, comment, and subscribe to the channel. As the season goes on, I'll be sharing the progress of the trees just to show you guys that even though we did trim them way back, they're going to be just fine. They're going to keep growing, and you know, they're going to hopefully have a long life, a good production ahead of them. So again, thanks for stopping by, and stick around. We'll see you for the next video.